Daniel, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay.
I can't see you, or you,
I'll
and
turn
you
it
can't see
on.
me. But
I'll turn it on in a second, but you're gonna run the meeting because there's no Tim today, so.
that's fine. I
Okay.
I figured that's what was going to happen.
Okay. Oh, there's someone else. There's Wilbur. Okay. Like,
There's Wilbur.
1 minute. Okay. All right, it's 3 o'clock, Daniel.
Good afternoon, all.
Hey, Todd.
Hello.
I would turn my video on, but it says the host has stopped it. I guess nobody wants to see me today.
Same thing for me.
All right. Well, nobody wants to see either of us.
Let's see. Oh, here, let's.
Todd probably needs to make immediate panels.
I did that.
Then you just blew through all my knowledge right there.
So just click on the little thing. Well, I'll work on it. Go ahead and start, Daniel. I'll see if I can figure it out.
I don't think we necessarily need to see each other, but you know.
Change panelist appearance. No, maybe not.
Go ahead, Daniel, whenever you're ready.
Okay. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Roll call. I see Mr. Burfield called, Mr. Williver, Heather. Who else is in the room?
Kathleen.
Kathleen.
Kathleen. Okay. So we're just kind of missing Tim. So we have our quorum. So we'll go ahead and get started. Heather, you're up first for up and expectations of the board.
Is that, oh, now you can see me good. Okay. So I just have a couple things, kind of updates for 4-H and then a couple fair related updates. I'll kind of start with the 4-H things. I spoke to Tim yesterday and they are working on getting the interior of the barn painted this week. So that's happening right now. I was up there yesterday and they had painters there, and then they're going to be finishing up some of the other little things that need to be done before fair. It looks fabulous. So thank you, Lincoln County, for taking care of that for us. We did our first round of weigh-ins the beginning of March. We had 8 steers that weighed in, and then we have weigh-ins Sunday, April 30th for our livestock. So swine, sheep, and goats. I'm anticipating about 20-ish animals between the 3 species, which is super exciting. So we're going to have a pretty good market this year at our fair on the 4-H side. And then after weigh-ins, we have our annual Dippity U event. If you guys are unfamiliar with what that is, it's a event we do every year where we allow farmers to bring their sheep and or goats, and we hire a shearer comes in, shears the sheep, and then the kids take care of all of their annual shots, they trim the hooves, they do a parasite spray, basically just an overhaul of all of the sheep. It's kind of a fundraiser for us. The money that is earned goes back to the 4-H animal science account, but mostly it's really a great hands-on learning experience for the kids on how to work animals. Some of the kids that have come have never touched a sheep in their life, and it's a pretty fun event. So that's scheduled for the 13th, and we typically do it in the arena, but we'll be relocating to the livestock barn. We're getting flyers up around town. It's posted online if anybody's interested. If anybody wants to attend, just have them call me and I will book an appointment with them. We are doing it by appointment only, just because it's the easiest way to get the sheep in and out safely. And then for the fair side, we're probably about 2/3 of the way full inside, so I have plenty of vendor space still available. Food trucks or the food court, I have some space still available. I've got to contact some of the people that come back annually that I haven't heard from yet to see if they're coming back for the year. But as of right now, we have like a barbecue truck. Mark, who does Uncle Buck's with I think he's just doing slushies again this year. A new calzone vendor, which is kind of exciting. So that's kind of what we have slated right now for food vendors. I'm working with Boondock Boys to get their contract for Friday and Saturday settled. Kathleen's working with me on getting contracts figured out for the year. So thank you, Kathleen.
Learning experience.
Yeah. And we've got our rodeo contract in the works with Hal Rodeo as well. And then Steve, last I talked to him, sounds like most of the lineup set with the exception of the La Fiesta Latina, which will be Sunday from 1 to 5. So they'll close us out. And between Eva and I, we kind of work out that schedule. Central de Ayuda usually pays for some kind of musical act. Last year did mariachi. We have some dancers that are interested in coming in for that festival. So we'll work through the details of that. And then Casey got me the fair poster. Todd, I think, has got a copy of it, but if Daniel can see it, I have to set it with our dates and
I saw it
everything.
last.
Yeah, I love it, Heather. I think I said at the time, it brings out the old hippie in me. I love it.
So I'll work on getting this set. I do want to put like a QR code on it that links directly to our website so that if people see the poster and want to buy rodeo tickets, then it's a direct link. I don't think I've done that in the past, but it's an easy small edition that I don't think will take away from the artwork, but it's a good way to kind of get our website out there and an easy way for people to get tickets purchased because online ticketing is a much easier system than having to ticket at the gate with cash. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll do some kind of probably separate rodeo event poster as well. Hopefully by the end of next week, I'll get both of those out. And then for kind of the nuts and bolts, what I need from the fair board this year is a couple specific things. I would like somebody to kind of help me with the volunteer coordination. I do have an orientation for all of our fair volunteers set for June 22nd. It's a Thursday at 6 o'clock at the extension office. And Jaylene Cook from HR is actually going to do the orientation, but it would be nice if a fair board member could attend as well as me. And we can maybe work out a set schedule for the volunteers that will be at fair, and then have somebody manage them so that if there's an issue, they know who to go to. And then on the 25th of this month, Daniel and I think we're still going together. The senior center is doing a volunteer expo. And so I'm going to attend both on the 4-H and the fair side just to kind of get some more volunteers. And there is a process that the county would like me to do. So they have to fill an application out. They have to they have to pass a background check, and then they have to go through the orientation. So just someone to help coordinate that. And then another need we have that Todd Williver used to do is kind of keep the arena groomed before fair. I know in this weather it's been miserable, and I don't think that we're going to have a chance to do that until it dries out a little. But I know leading up to fair, Todd can probably speak more on this, but he would often go out like weekly and groom the arena until it so it was ready for rodeo. We do not have a 4-H horse fair until after our traditional fair. I think they set their date as the 23rd. It's a Sunday. I only have 4 or 5 kids, so they were okay doing it after, so we don't need it groomed before rodeo. But we will need it groomed for rodeo. It's not in good shape right now. And I'm happy to do like a rock picking party with our 4-H kids. We've done that in past years as part of their community service and things like that. And then the other need to would be like some kind of liaison with the vendors. I'm always available on Thursday for setup and things like that, but just have somebody, again, kind of like the volunteer, somebody they can go to. And then if there's a larger emergency, they think come to me. And then Brittany Williams will be kind of boots on the ground for 4-H again this year. And then luckily OSU found me an intern, so I will also have an intern helping with the 4-H side of the house as well this year. So those are the few requests I have. And then Tim did give me a budget. I don't know if we have copies for everybody. But there's a $80,000-ish contingency that's part of that budget that is just kind of for me a no touch kind of situation. And then the rest of it is kind of split out amongst entertainment, the rodeo, and then just general operating costs. And so I am going to try to work within that budget and not spend in excess, but I do know with rodeo, we have some back panels we're going to have to rent again this year and things like that. So it might eat up some of that additional money we have for rodeo.
Heather, I can speak to a few of those things if
Please.
your punch list is done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, first let me just say this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to join the Fair Board meeting since the new Fair Board has been seated. That's very, very exciting to have so many people that have worked so hard on this for so many years. So Todd, Colleen, Daniel, exciting times. Thank you for your applications. And for the first time in my tenure, we've got a new Fair Board and some really motivated people going forward. So I'm excited about that. And as I think Katie spoke to in the interview, having working Fair Board members that can help out Heather and I is absolutely huge. For 8 years, we've done this really just she and I with and of course Colleen's help and Todd's help, the help that we've had, but without any help from the Fair Board. So it's really exciting to have a Fair Board that has more vested than just making the state minimum standard meeting requirement and keeping the wheels on. Those fellows, Jim and Frank, and of course Claire as well, did yeoman's work for so many years to keep things going, but I'm sure they're happy to be moving on, and now we've got a new Fair Board seated. So it's a really exciting time. One quick housekeeping thing. I don't think I saw an agenda prior to the meeting. I saw the meeting announcement, but I didn't see the agenda. We should try to get that sent out early.
It was sent out yesterday.
Oh, was it? Okay. I didn't. Did it come from you or from Kathleen, Daniel?
It came from Kathleen with the agenda, a draft of the bylaws, and the MOA.
Wow. I wonder if I wasn't on that email, because I sure haven't seen it. I did get the Zoom link, but I didn't get the agenda. Somebody send it to me if you would. And yeah, let's just be sure we do get that out. It'll make things a lot easier, especially when some of us aren't appearing in person, to have that in front of us. My schedule is crazy this year, and I hope it will be alleviated a little bit in coming years, but the transition with my job to the state side of Oregon State University, Heather taking over the Lincoln County thing has left us in a kind of crazy year of transition. And Todd Butterfield, I'm looking at you, even though you can't see me, hoping that you can help me with some of that front end work that you've done so good at prior with the previous administration. Things like getting that arena groomed a few times prior to the event, getting panels set up, you and I can work on that, but you are the only other certified tractor driver that we've got. And it would help me tremendously if you've got some time coming into the event. And if you do, I'll get together with you one-on-one and kind of tell you what my needs are and hope that you've got time to help with that.
I do have the time.
Okay, what email address do you like to use? I saw a new Todd at the fair or something
Yeah.
like that.
Use that one.
Okay, I'll use that one and we can kind of correspond and create a schedule. I think we've got, Heather, do we know anything about Angel Job Corps coming to help as well?
I sent an email. I will reach out by phone and give him a call. It's probably the best way to reach him, honestly,
Okay.
and get that set up. But I was thinking to have them come Monday and or Tuesday prior to fair, and then come back Monday and or Tuesday after fair for setup and cleanup.
Yeah,
And then our 4-H kids, I think we have Wednesday on our schedule for like the barn setup. But if Angel Job Corps could at least get the panels over to the barn, because everything's still in the arena.
right.
That's kind of the biggest need from them, besides the normal panels and everything that they said.
And Todd, we can talk more about it, but just so you know, what I generally do is just spread panels around the fairgrounds with the tractor where they need to go. And then the day that Angel is there, I'm just sort of there to direct. And those are the things that I'm going to be really bottled up. I'm in LeGrand this weekend. I'm in Kansas. Next week, I'm in Grand Island, Nebraska, and our state shooting sports contest all before our county fair. So it's gonna be kind of a rough couple of months for me. But Todd, you'll be able to take a lot of that pressure off of me. So we'll communicate and make that work. I will say that the rodeo is coming in under budget, although we've got a nice line item for the rodeo every year. We've come in under budget and made money. So I'm excited about that. And I'm actually excited that there is a budget now, where previously we had to just sort of operate from a net neutral standpoint. We could only spend what we thought we were bringing in. And it's nice of Tim to give us an operating budget. So now we've kind of got some guidance. So that's exciting. Rodeo, I'm sure, will be under budget, although we are going to have to rent back pins and chutes again. I've got some quotes. Colleen, thank you for the connection with the coastal people. I've also got Noble and 2W, and I'll get that stuff to Heather to get to Tim. But all of that is a year out, even once we get it ordered, and it's about $140,000 investment. So it's more than just hey, we've got 6 months. Can we get this done? But I'll get that stuff going to Heather to get to Tim, and maybe by next year. For this year, I have John Jardine lined up again. He's the fellow that at Plus One Productions that rented us the equipment last year. And he comes in and does all the setup. The only thing we need to provide for him is a telehandler, a big forklift to do that. And our tractor isn't sufficient. So last year we rented that from, I think, the Pape dealer in Junction City, but we're going to need to get that coming. We'll need it both before fair, just a couple days before fair. He's usually setting up on Wednesday, and then he'll have that torn down Sunday afternoon. So I'll Heather, do you know, is the protocol still to work with Jack on stuff like that, or do you have any idea?
I'm assuming, but I'll ask Tim. Tim couldn't make the meeting. I don't know if you missed that part, Todd. But I'll find out who we need to get that rental agreement taken care of.
Okay,
I'm making a note.
Yeah, and I'm making one myself, so I'll shoot that to you as well, just to keep so we're on track. But yeah, that's their request, is that because those chutes and things are so heavy and it requires precise placement, the big tractor just doesn't do it. They just swing around and don't move, where that big boom out telehandler makes it a lot easier to do it. I think last year it cost us about $2,000, but they delivered it and it was really beneficial for what we were doing. Schedule, we talked about the ticket link. Heather, you mentioned. I haven't made that active yet, but I sure could. Are we ready to go live with rodeo tickets?
I think you can make it live. I don't know how many people would stumble upon it, but
Yeah.
the sooner we can get it up and then I could get posters done,
Right.
the better off we are.
Right. And then I think the only other thing that I had, and Heather, this is more on your radar than mine, are things like getting the posters distributed, getting them in the windows of the local shops, and then getting the yard signs and stuff up.
Okay.
We can use a little help from all the Fair Board members doing that. And the sooner we can get all of that done, especially the posters, probably the better.
Yeah, I reached out to Bigfoot today. I think I CC'd you in that
Like
email.
you did.
So as soon as I know more from that, then we'll go that route. And then if that doesn't pan out, I think I have some connections through Kira Morgan to do some printing and things if we can't get Pepsi to do it.
And I think the only other thing that brings up is that we should reach out to Dave Miller about the PR that he does for us. And I think Kira's putting both the rodeo and the fair announcements together. That's what she did last year. And then we can just hand those off to Dave at Yaquina Bay Broadcast, and he runs them on all of his stations. So I think those were the only things on my list. Again, thank you all, and it's an exciting time to watch the fair evolve. A little weird for me with Heather in the driver's seat and me taking second fiddle, but I'm happy to do that, and Heather's gonna do just fine with the support from everybody here.
Hey, Todd, I've got a question for you on those panels. Are those galvanized?
All of them, I expect all of them as galvanized at this point. I just don't see any point in spending money on anything that's not. We've had such a miserable experience. We've spent almost $10,000 in Powder River panels that are rotting away in front of us right now, that are only 2 and 3 years old. So yeah, anything that I'm looking at, I suggest it all needs to be galvanized.
I'm on board with that. I was just making notes. After Heather, the one thing I would ask of you what your needs are. I probably would fit better in the vendor liaison because I already do that in a lot of ways. I'm already in the building.
Okay. That's good with me. And then I'll just make
And
sure.
I can back up that.
You're cutting in and out, Daniel.
I can back you under on.
And I'll make sure you guys have all of that paperwork in the binder and all that stuff
It's all good
that I keep.
since I'm usually in the building anyways.
And I think that's all I had. Oh, and the other thing too is I don't know if I've even told Todd this. Samaritan will be back. They've requested a contract for their sponsorship to do the $5,000 that they've done in the previous years. And then they will have an appreciation barbecue that they completely take care of. I just provide the tables and chairs for their staff on Saturday at noon. And then Dave Miller made me think too, Dave and Lyle do want to do the senior barbecue. I have that on my calendar to reach back out to them and just get things confirmed. So I may need a handful of volunteers to help them with that event.
What day is that?
Friday, Friday at noon. And then Daniel's working on doing the normal senior fair we have. Bingo will be back on Friday. And the other thing, Todd, too, just as a mental note, I need to reach out to Rick from the bounce houses to get him on the calendars as well.
Yeah, the setting up the tents is the only other really big thing. But we don't need to do that anytime soon. I think I'll be back in time to help with that. We can get that Thursday afternoon. without any trouble. I think that was the only thing. Well, setting up the bleachers might be interesting because I'm guessing as we rent those out, they're probably not getting set back up around our rodeo arena either. So both of those we'll probably have to figure out how to do. And that might make a busy Thursday. I'll compare notes with Todd and Jack, and we'll see if we can get started. Are all 4 sets? When do we expect all 4 sets back, Heather?
I emailed John and I said that I needed them back the Monday of Fair Week, but he has a couple more events that he just has them 2 sets in his yard currently. He's got a couple more events that he's going to be doing between our fair and then I have them after our fair rented out pretty much through like December between different events.
Yeah. With John having them, that he can probably help us get them set in place when he brings them back. The 2 gooseneck ones go on the east side of the arena. The 2 bumper hitch go on the west side, and maybe I'll tell you what, I'll put an email together copying you, Heather, and Todd, showing kind of the map of how I set them up, and then regardless of who's around when John brings them in, hopefully we can just get them put right back in place rather than have to drop them and then rehook them and go.
Yeah. And I think John would do that for us, no problem.
I think he will. And the other thing to remember is that the 2 sets, the gooseneck sets, take a gooseneck ball in the bed of a truck, and the county does not have anything that's got a gooseneck ball on it. So I've either used my truck, which obviously won't be there until I'm there, or we've relied once on Brady to come set them for us. So with somebody with a gooseneck trailer ball in the bed of their truck will need to be, if we're going to move them rather than John move them, we'd need somebody with a gooseneck ball.
We've got it. If we get into a pinch, we can do it. We've got 2 trucks that way.
Oh, do you? Okay, perfect. Excellent, Colleen. That's good to know. Okay, well, yeah, we've got some time there, and I like I say, I think John Jardine will be really good at just setting those in place for us. One thing we'll want to look at, and I don't have eyes there to look, there were a bunch of big, like 12 by 18 blocks, pier blocks, wooden pier blocks that we have to set the east side tires of those trailers on to get them level. And all of those were sitting on the east side sidewalk. I hope they're still there. Somebody might put their eyes on them just to make sure that they didn't walk off. We got those from Roy at the county shops, and if we need to get more, I hope the ones that we had there are still there. Somebody drive by and just take a look on the sidewalk, please, and let us know.
I can do that, Todd. How many was there?
4.
Well, there were probably 8 total, but they're not all the same size.
Okay.
There were a couple that were probably 12 by 18, a couple that were probably 12 by 12, and a couple that were more 6 by stuff. But it seems to me they were 2 piles that would sit approximately where the tandem axles of the trailers would have been, except moved up onto the sidewalk along the arena rail, so they're not just sitting in the dirt.
Okay.
I think
Thank you.
there, Todd, I was just there the other day, but I can't remember seeing them.
Yeah.
And then speaking of Roy, do I need to send Roy an email about getting Harney Street closed?
We should do that. He's usually really good at reaching out to us, but proactive wouldn't be bad. I've got his email if you want me to copy and just do an introduction to you, so that he knows who he's talking to. I'm happy to do it.
Because he's got to work with the city for that, correct?
Yeah, he puts in that's sort of a long story, but probably for the sake of institutional knowledge, it's worth repeating. when they put Harney Street in, part of the agreement was that they would close Harney for the fair when we wanted it. That seems to have slipped off the radar just a little over the last 15 years. So Roy ends up actually putting in an application to the city to close Harney, but it's never been denied.
Okay,
So, yeah, but he does end up doing that in an application form. I'll send an email to you and him making that introduction.
Question, and since we are moving into a working fair board and all of us are going to be bouncing on and off property, does everybody have either gate access or key access to get on and off property?
I was about to ask
No.
the same question. We should, all of the fair board members should know the combination. Let's not put that in the Zoom meeting right now.
No.
But yeah, let's give the combination to the fair board members so they can get in and out as needed.
and then I always have an extra key at the extension office as well. There's very few buildings that actually require a key anymore. Most of them are either coded locks or
The fair office is the only one I know of that isn't passed off.
it's on a different key.
Yeah,
So I do have a spare set at the extension office as well. And then Brittany Williams, the EPA for 4-H, also has a set. So we have a couple floating around, but I'll make sure everyone has gate codes and building codes and all of that, because I don't think you guys know the code to the new barn yet, and I haven't.
No, I've not been in it.
What
Yeah.
about the tractor code or
Yeah.
combination?
So that's sort of a loaded, I need to check with Jack. When we parked that thing last year, the garage door spring broke and the blue tractor has been trapped inside the tractor barn without. Is it out?
Yeah, they were using it to move my.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, last I knew it was stuck inside the barn with the door down and no way to open it. So good. I'm glad they got it out. And that, do you know Jack, Todd? You work with? Yeah. So I think that's probably just a communication to have with Jack.
Okay.
Pop in there to his office and let him know kind of the structure and he'll get you set up. They've been locking it, or at least when I was there, we were locking it in the tractor barn and hiding the key where only people that knew where it was could get it. So talk to Jack about that and get access. I think that's the easy way to do that.
Are we supposed to have a fair board member card? of
You know,
some-
the Oregon Fairs Association, that now that we have a new fair board, we certainly could do that. We just print them off the website, and we certainly could do that. And that card gets you into all the other fairs around the state, which is kind of nice. It doesn't really do anything other than that. I would suggest though that maybe we need some sort of and a thing to talk to Tim about, maybe a Lincoln County credential.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
all over it.
yeah, okay. We've never done that, but I think it would make a ton of sense.
Well, I think we need to be identifiable on grounds especially during live fair. I mean, I drafted up name badges this morning, just took 10 minutes, drafted one up. I showed it to Heather earlier. I can send it out if people want to see it. But something that, makes us easily identifiable. I mean, I'd love to do embroidered shirts, but we are getting down to a timeline here. Maybe that's a go forward thing. But as far as, either a business card or, like you said, something that, the OFA badge, if nothing else, something, and I think it would be beneficial for those who don't work with a lot of county fairs, that we venture out a little bit, because you can gain a lot just by walking onto a fairgrounds and seeing how their teams operate. And that might be good for all of us, because all of us are new in this particular position.
You can talk to vendors too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Agreed
But
completely.
I definitely agree with Colleen that to see if the county can make us, badges that we can have in our pocket or wear specifically at the
County
Lincoln
ID.
County.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And it helps us when we go in the courthouse too, for meetings, that they know who we are. We're not just some schmo.
I'll work with maybe Tim and HR and see what their procedures are to do something like that. And then if worst case, I can always order something. I think we have enough money in like our budget to be able to order something from Office Depot or whatever, just in the meantime, as an in between.
Heather, I'd even suggest that I think with the new budget, shirts are pretty minimal expense, and I would suggest it's worth doing those for the Fair Board. The few $100s that they're going to cost, I think is worth doing, so that our Fair Board is very identifiable. I shouldn't say that. So that your Fair Board is very identifiable during the event. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think there's the budget there to do it.
And I have an in, as everybody already knows.
Okay, well, we'll just do an email chain then, and we'll come up with what we want and get approval. Because I can always make the purchase on the OSU card and just charge it against the fair line item. So
That's something that would have to be a motion made, seconded, and voted on.
once we have a design approval, or just to start getting the process going, Daniel?
Just to spend the money. So we can do all the design work and everything, but once we get down to the last, yep, this is what we want. That is something that we're going to want to have a motion second and voted on.
Okay, so what I'll do in the meantime is we'll just do via email, kind of get everything set, and then I'll have something together by the next board meeting.
Just a suggestion, why doesn't the board make a motion to spend up to $500 on shirts for the Fair Board members? Approve that now, and then if it goes over budget, we can you guys can chat about it later. But one of the issues, just for institutional knowledge here, one of the issues is, since the Fair Board only meets once a month, sometimes getting those things through timely becomes an issue. So looking forward, if you can approve it, and I would think 500 or 700 probably does it. Just get it approved, get it out of the way, and then if it's over budget, worry about it after that.
Mr. Williver, pick a number, 500 or 700.
I'm not a voting member of the Fair Board. Somebody else is going to have to make that motion. I see Todd is about ready to.
Go ahead, Todd.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We spend up or allow up to $500 for identification shirts for the county fair.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Ayes carry, approved. So there you go.
We'll talk, Heather.
Colleen and I will work on it. All right, I think I'm done. So do you want to move down your agenda, sir?
I got a couple questions is all. Let me flip my page here. You know what the budget is? I know you gave us the 80,000. What's the total budget number? Do you know?
Tim gave me a copy of it and I failed to print it out, but it was like, and do not quote me on this. It was $40,000 roughly for rodeo, $20,000 for entertainment costs, $6,500 for operations, and then the 80,000 contingency. And then there's a couple other smaller line items in there.
Heather, I've got it in front of you if you want me
Thank
to
you.
say it real quick.
Yes, please.
I was just looking for the mass number, the big number, not. I was just
Yeah,
curious.
somebody, Colleen, if you can copy these down. It looks like 232,598 is the total. And I'll just recite real quick that 75,000 for contractual services, which is Heather's side of things for OSU. 6,500 for fair event expenses, $20K for entertainment, 40,000 for rodeo, 6,500 for operating supplies, and then 84,598 in contingency.
84 what?
Nice.
84,598.
Okay.
Let's see, what else did I have? And then I plan on spending the week before fair down in Newport every day, like I did last year. Do we want the road signs up sooner than that?
Much sooner than that.
Yeah.
Okay. When do we potentially want to gather and put those road signs up?
I'm gonna be gone in Albany from June 19th to the 21st for state shooting sports contest. So can we maybe look at the week prior to that? Would be like the 11th. Does that sound about right? 10th, 11th. That's about 3 weeks prior to fair. The 12th.
Sorry, 12th through 16th is that week.
Yeah.
And yes, I think that's a good plan.
And
I
those
will
are
put a
all-
calendar to make.
Oh, sorry, Daniel. Those are all in the fair office. So once you guys have access, you can just go and get them at any time. I think we may have a handful still floating around the extension office, but I believe they're all now down in the fair office on the grounds.
And I think I have one in my garage.
Just a couple of thoughts on those along those lines. Where when I set them up last year, or as we were setting up last year, I think we're very, very low on those 4-foot 1x2 stakes. So I think we need to budget to buy some stakes and probably some of those small screws.
Yes.
Would be worthwhile. Also, let me say about the budget, there's no line item for travel expenses for the fair, but obviously we send people to OFA every year. There's nothing for equipment repair, and there's nothing for membership and dues. So I think it would be prudent to be sure that we don't spend that we come in well under budget, so that we've got some money that we can put towards, so that you can put towards those items as they come up, including incidentals like stakes and screws. There is where did it go? Fair event expense does have a line item
And then
that you can take that out of.
operating supplies too, I think.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I wonder.
Since how,
Go ahead, Daniel, sorry.
I was gonna say, since how Tim's not around, discussing the budget was next, but we've kind of already done that. Discussing the MOA and the bylaws. I would personally rather that we wait until Tim's here. We can discuss it. I sent my email in regards to MOA and the bylaws. I know everybody got a copy of it. But I'd like to either, at least with that, maybe have county council and or Tim present to try and identify some of the issues, but I'm one person. If everybody else wants to talk about it, we can.
I'm good with holding.
I'm good with holding.
Okay, we'll table it for next month. Selecting a treasurer and a secretary. I think Tim would be the best treasurer, but again, he's not here. So I almost think that maybe that we table that until next month, or I can actually reach out to him and ask him if he would be willing to do that, and then reach back out to the board for approval, whichever the board wants to do.
I think he's a natural fit as he's already involved in that side of the house.
Right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, I'll reach out to him and CC everybody on it. Is Kathleen still in the room?
Yep, I'm still here.
We have to select a secretary. Kathleen, you kind of seem kind of like Tim, the natural fit. Is that something that you would entertain doing if you were elected that position?
Daniel, I kind of asked him about that earlier and he said, no, you're not secretary. So I think he think of me as your recorder, perhaps. I'm not quite sure what that means your secretary would do, but I think I should be thought of as your recorder.
Okay, because the MOA states that it can be in fact, the MOA actually states that it,
Can be, yes.
let me, here,
Maybe that's another Tim.
paragraph 4, MOA, Fair Board Secretary, the Fair Board will annually select a secretary who may be a member of the Fair Board, or the Fair Board may utilize a designee as the secretary. Let's see, where else did it? That was in that one. So it's whichever. Otherwise, it's going to end up being Colleen as secretary.
I'm happy to do whatever my boss tells me to do.
I'd like to run it by Tim, see what he has to say. At this time, I'm still getting settled in my new job. And I would prefer not to take a position if I can avoid it. Not that I don't mind helping, but I need to get solid in my new job first.
Right. Unless, Todd, you wanted to be the vice chair and the secretary.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, wrong Todd, Butterfield.
Butterfield and treasurer was going to Tim, and recorder or secretary was what's on the table, right?
Treasurer and secretary, yeah.
Let's, I'm not sure my schedule is conducive to that either, Daniel, just because I may end up not making every meeting. I think it'd be better if we had somebody that was either an actual member or support staff to do that.
Well, that's why I was asking Mr. Butterfield.
So are we allowed to take notes off of the video?
That's how I would do it, honestly. That's how I do it in all my other meetings too.
I think I'm still supposed to be here to do this part and this part.
Okay,
So I'm not really understanding what the secretary position is, but Tim said I'm not the secretary, so I think I'm the recorder. But again, happy to do whatever we need done with my boss.
is there a way to
Just reword that to make it recorder.
know is there a way to print what's said?
Yeah, not to my knowledge, but good try.
There's not a way on Zoom to print, but once it's recorded and saved, you can actually go through and replay it as many times as you want. But really the secretary, let me get to that spot. The secretary basically maintains the minutes. That's it.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that's what I'm doing. So I'm confused about what Tim's telling me, but I'm happy to do whatever Tim tells me to do. I'm happy to do it.
So, and I,
So
again,
in
into institutional knowledge again, Daniel, but prior Fair Board meetings, the assistant to county board commissioners, whoever that was, it was Christy for a while, it's Kathleen now. They've always taken the minutes and then they're the ones that present the minutes just to the board at the next meeting. But we can chat with Tim to figure out the nuances that we need to have, but that's the way we've always done it in the past. And then they've just approved the minutes based on what was taken by county staff.
speaking of, we forgot to do that earlier. So
No,
in the
I don't think-
bylaws, there was,
I don't think we had minutes to approve.
Mhm.
There were none presented, so. We'll work through all these kinks.
we will. Actually, there was minutes kicked out last month because I have a copy of them. But in the bylaws, page 4, paragraph 7.5 minutes, consistent with ORS 565.220 and the Fair Management Agreement, county staff is designated to serve as secretary to the Fair Board.
That's pretty
The
clear.
secretary will cause minutes to be prepared and shall be the custodian of the Fair Board records. Minutes will include a description of the members present, motions, proposals, resolutions, and orders. So bylaw, page 4, paragraph 7.5, Kathleen, that's you,
Okey
which is part of the email that I sent out and kind of why we need legal and Tim to be present, because right there it says that you're the secretary, but then later on it says that the Fair Board has to appoint a secretary, and the MOA says we have to appoint a secretary, but we can use a designee from the county. So I kind of think that we table it until Tim and county council can be present, because that's my biggest complaint with the bylaws is one subject brings up, says 3 different in 2 different documents.
Well, it would be my pleasure.
Thank you, Kathleen.
So,
Welcome aboard.
No, I just hate to miss something.
and then Kathleen, you sent out minutes last month, right after the meeting. I do appreciate. I can send those out to everybody else for their records, if you like, and then we can approve both March and April's minutes come next month. We'll just have to remember to put it on the agenda. With that, we'll move on to item number 8, discussing of which month or months to not have a board meeting. I personally think that December is a bad month to try and have a board meeting. That's the 2 months that I look at is August and December that we don't have board meetings, because August is the middle of fair season. Also, you know, families and vacations and all of that. And then December, that's Christmas time. And if you look at the projected meeting for December, it's the Thursday before Christmas. I don't know about the rest of you. Last thing I want to do is be in a meeting right before Christmas. But that is my 2 cents on that.
Is that where we have to have the budget for the next year?
For the next year, September or November, per the bylaws.
I agree with August and December personally.
That sounds good. You need a motion?
So budgets, committee chairs and liaisons are responsible for providing a budget to the treasurer to support their work by December 30th of every year. Again, if we had council, I think we could probably bump that to a month to November.
Well, I can tell you right
And,
now, no one's ever gonna complain about getting their budget in early, Daniel.
Yeah, I don't think
Right.
we can move the date if we're gonna do it earlier.
Mm-mm. It gives us a cushion if something happens and we don't get it done prior.
So somebody take a note on that, and we'll bring that up next month when we have Tim and council about that change in the bylaws to move it to December or to November. And then Colleen, you said you made a motion for not meeting in August and December?
No, I said it sounded good to me. I didn't make the motion, but you wanted to move the budget to when?
End of November.
Okay. I make a motion to not have board meetings in August and December.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. All opposed, all abstain. So no meetings in August and December. Other business. The only other business, I guess, that I have, Heather, I'll loop you in on it when it happens, but I should be having a meeting with both Lakeview and Ocean View Assisted Living. They're trying to find volunteer times. I know that you and I've talked about having like volunteers at the gates to help with rough estimation of how many people show up. At the same time, we can actually do a canned food drive and give that canned food to the food share or whatever. And also do a donation jar at the 2 gates. I'll let you know when that meeting is. Both agencies were absolutely excited and open to that opportunity. It would just be a matter of how many they have and how much time they could cover.
Hey, Daniel, can we try and loop in Toys for Tots somewhere in that too?
Yeah, I can reach out to both and the recruiters. Because that's easy. That's a matter of getting the boxes from Bulldog, who's the commandant for Lincoln County. That's an easy day.
We already have donation jars and counters in the office.
Right, we do.
That's the only big thing that I have that I can think of for other business. Anybody else?
Heather, correct me if I'm wrong. We did lock-in radios. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, those are contracts, I think. Yeah, so we ordered 10 for $150. And they're coming Tuesday before fair, and then they just need to be back in the mail Tuesday after fair.
And those will come with earpieces if you want to use them.
What
So,
about extra batteries?
and extra batteries, there's actually a charging station they will send with it.
Yeah, they're gonna send a whole Pelican case
Yep.
with 10
Okay.
radios. We're just renting them.
Mhm.
But I think there's a total of 10, so. I mean, we'll distribute it among management and fair board members, and then I'll probably be one in the 4-H barn and things like that, but.
And probably one in the open class building. If I'm not in the building, then at least
And
there's
then-
one there.
We've got security, I think, lined up, so that's all set, and then, garbage people are coming back. I don't think I've told anybody that.
Yes.
So,
I didn't hear that, Heather.
Is it the same people as last year?
yeah, the same group is coming back to do garbage service for us again this year. So I've already got her, and they're another one that will probably provide a radio too as well.
Yeah.
Also,
I think Josh has got connections to get the gator back for them as well this year.
nice. Also, huge win across the board. Pacific West Ambulance came in with just short of $3,500 donation.
Wow.
They're doing like a $1,250 for the rodeo, and then the rest is in kind. They are going to staff an EMT at the fair the entire 3 days. So that EMT will need a radio as well. Sam Love, who typically volunteers for the rodeo, her plan is to be at the fair the entire time. Her job is, she does not want to do medical, but if there is a medical event, if we give her a radio, she can actually be the paramedic on site. And then the EMT on duty and her will have a radio to Pacific West Ambulance and dispatch, and they'll be able to actually make a determination if a patient needs to be transported or not. So that is a huge win this year.
Do we have an idea where we're gonna position them?
With
Probably
the
by-
posse.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
with the sheriff's posse.
Works for me.
Hey, Heather, just another thing to put on your radar regarding contractual services is pipe and drape.
It's on my list.
Okay, and that's about $3,000 out of that $6,500 line item every year. It goes away pretty quick.
Yeah. One more thing, and we can talk offline about this too. I just brought it up in my mind, ATM service.
Yeah, I've got a couple of contacts for that. Let you and I talk about that and figure out who you want to use this year.
Okay, I just thought about it. I won't forget.
Yeah, good thought. I would have forgotten it.
Any other business?
I don't have
Being
anything.
being silenced, I would entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Second,
All in favor?
I,
All opposed? Abstain? Ayes carry. Our next meeting is May 18th. I will tell you right now, I may or may not be present via Zoom. I will be in Salt Lake City on military duty that entire week. So if I can make it, Kathleen, if you can set up a Zoom for that, that would be great. If you can put the meeting ID and password, that would help me because I may call in on that one. So depends on if my boss will let me step away for an hour.
Okay, got it, Dan.
I'm gonna stop.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Everybody that showed up, I appreciate it. Thank you. You guys make this life so much easier.